So, nuclear energy, eh? And they're still rabbiting on about that. The great distraction. At the National Press Club this week, Angus Taylor was more elusive than a Cayman Island blue iguana. Jane Hume was trying to claim we could build nuclear capacity in 3 years. Teddy O'Brien, the Shadow Minister for Energy, was thundering on about the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, tend to get things done faster in big dictatorships. There was Ted browbeating journalists about how quick and clean and cheap it would all be. He likes to thunder, does Ted. It's almost as if he actually believes it. Of course, none of them do actually believe it, do they? They were very agitated this week by the latest CSIRO report, junking again the idea of nuclear energy being too expensive and too long to develop. 2040 is the word. But going on snowy hydro, the concoction of the last coalition government, that secret bottomless money pit costing from $2 now to $12 billion, we'd be looking at a couple of $100 billion by the turn of the century if this mob was in charge. It's no wonder they're all fleeing to the Teals. Here they are, the greatest science deniers still at it. Not just the CSIRO experts, but AEMO too, the energy market regulator, or operator rather. No credible expert in Australia is on board. Scientists, economists, analysts, just a set of assumptions, said Jane on television, breezily dismissing all those people who actually knew what they were talking about. Some of them may be true believers, who knows. Some of them have been squired about by deep pocket industry groups like this furtive Coalition for Conservation charity. Who is behind that? We had a look at the website, we had a look at their financials on the ACNC charity website. We could not find even directors mentioned. We don't know who funds it. The talk is that it's a certain coal baron called Trevor. He's one of them, Treverson Baker, who bought a coal-fired power plant from the New South Wales state government in the Hunter for $1 billion and then sold it to a Czech fossil fuel billionaire called Pavel, a Liechtenstein-based coal trader, for $200 million. What a turn. A $200 million turn from $1. How good is that? The mob he sold it to run fossil fuel disinformation campaigns too, including the website called Greenpiss. Pavel, the Czech billionaire who's now waded into the Australian coal scene, called Australia extremely investor-friendly. That's how the latest fossil fuel buyer from overseas describes Australia. Extremely investor-friendly. Indeed, the gas plan, the plan to burn gas for longer and approve many more new gas projects is evidence of that. So we will see these squalid public relations tactics for some time. They are just going to be with us, whether people believe nuclear or not. It's about keeping coal and gas burning for longer because these industries are making fabulous profits and they just need to lock in their future production for as long as possible. And so it is that we have the great distraction, and it's money too. Mona Gina is behind it. She's changed her mind on nuclear. They'll do anything to oppose a Mona Gina. Anything to appease Mona Gina, anything to appease their big donors and billionaire fossil fuel types. This will not go away. It's with us, and Murdoch will keep pushing it out over his airwaves. Sky News. They're suddenly worried about the trees on Sky News. There was Chris Kenny this week, carrying on like the Lorax he was. I speak for the trees. Now, there is something in this. The Nats are worried in the bush about transmission lines for all the solar and wind projects. They are legitimately worried about that. And that is something that will have to be discussed at length. But there is no going back. Wind and solar are the cheapest forms of energy by a long way. It is going to happen. It's just how much we burn in between times. Thanks for your support, especially valuable at times like today when I've only got one arm to write with. Had a surfing accident yesterday, and ironically, the funny thing was we'd just done the last video and a website story on the Cayman Islands controlled Northern Beaches Hospital, where I was slinging off at the financial shenanigans, the people behind it. And then there it was, an hour or two later, straight up to the good old Northern Beaches Hospital, where they treated me absolutely brilliantly. I was a bit sheepish about it, but they were fantastic, the doctors and the nurses. What a health system we have in Australia. It will be a tragedy if we go the American way. It is so good, the public hospital system. Like, share and comment in the space below, and throw us a few bucks on Patreon if you can afford it. Thank you.